The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Right Side. Doug Billings here with you. Today, straight talk. No filter, no breaks for commercials, just the truth as I see it. So right now, one of the stories that's gripping America is the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC's Savannah Guthrie. Nancy vanished from her home in the Catalina foothills outside of Tucson, Arizona. And it was all in the early morning hours of January 31st that this happened. More precisely, around 2:28 a.m. when her pacemaker app suddenly got disconnected, okay? So for days, we've had a mix of facts and speculation. There's been a lot of pranks coming in. We've got blood on the front porch. Phone and wallet are left behind. The doorbell camera was yanked down or disabled, but we've got new video, so I'll get to that in a moment, a little bit puzzling. There have been multiple ransom demands for $6 million in Bitcoin. Most of those ransom demands were obvious hoaxes, and at least one person has already been arrested for sending fake text messages about this issue. So I've been following it fairly closely, and I want to walk you through where things stand today, especially with that major new development that just dropped from the FBI. So over the weekend, under the direction of FBI Director Kash Patel, the Bureau released surveillance images and a short video recovered from residual data on Nancy's doorbell camera system. Now, since it's residual, it may explain why they found the doorbell disabled or disconnected. So it's not outrageous that they found this footage. Nevertheless, this is the first time that we've had a visual of someone directly connected to that property during the critical window of time when Nancy went missing. So what does the footage show? It shows a masked individual wearing a ski mask or a full face covering of some type, gloves, long sleeves, long pants, sneakers, carrying a backpack, and approaching the front door. So the person stops, looks directly at the camera, and then deliberately reaches for nearby plants or vegetation and places them over the lens of the camera to obscure it. Okay, so in at least one clip, the individual is visibly armed. There's a holstered pistol clearly seen on the person's hip, okay? So this is not subtle. This is someone taking active steps to disable the camera and prevent people from seeing the recording. All right. That single fact changes the weight of the evidence that we've seen here so far significantly. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department are now publicly treating this as a presumed kidnapping abduction. So they've called the masked person a potential suspect. Okay, good. They've released the images widely, and they are asking for help in identifying this person. Savannah Guthrie herself reposted the photos and the video on Instagram with a family statement, and I quote, "We believe she is still alive. Bring her home." Okay. So let me be very clear about where I stand on this whole thing right now with you, ladies and gentlemen. I have tremendous respect for law enforcement, and especially for Director Patel, releasing footage quickly, transparently, etc. He's been on this show several times. I've met him personally. I don't think it's in his DNA to lie or mislead the public about anything. So, and this is all what the public needs. The new video is a serious piece of evidence, and it strengthens the case that Nancy didn't simply just wander off due to some sort of a medical event, right? So that said, I still think that we need to be careful and measured and evidence-driven before that we lock into any single theory here. Here's why I initially leaned towards a medical emergency as the most likely explanation, and why I'm adjusting that view without abandoning it without abandoning it completely. First, the known facts here still fit a medical scenario. No signs of forced entry into the house itself. No obvious signs of a violent struggle inside. Now, the blood on the porch is limited, and it's consistent with the blood that might be found if someone fell, a nosebleed, or some other minor injury, and from disorientation or whatever. Maybe she fell down, she got disoriented, okay? Nancy's 84 years old with a pacemaker. That puts her at real risk for cardiac events, arrhythmias, transient ischemic attacks, confusion episodes that can cause somebody to leave the home in the middle of the night. Elderly people with sudden medical crises sometimes wander short distances and become lost, especially in the dark, and especially with rugged areas like the Catalina foothills, with a nearby desert, washes, and trails, okay? The second thing is the ransom notes. Multiple inconsistent demands, no credible proof of life, and several confirmed hoaxes. So the pattern that we see here is very common in high-profile missing persons cases, especially when scammers jump out and try to take advantage of the publicity. But now we have to weigh this new image, this new footage, very heavily. A masked, armed person deliberately covering the camera at roughly the same time the pacemaker disconnects is not something that happens in a simple medical event, right? That is planning, and it's intentional concealment. And it strongly points towards foul play, whether a targeted abduction may be linked to Savannah's public profile because she's famous, wealthy. Maybe it was a botched home invasion that escalated, or something else that we don't yet understand because we haven't been privy to all of the facts of the case. So I think it's premature to rule out anything 100%. We don't know yet whether the masked individual entered the home. We don't know whether Nancy was conscious when the camera was covered, and we don't know what happened in the minutes thereafter. So the FBI is still working through forensics, DNA swabs from household staff, and leads from the expanded searches that they have now begun. So what I will say about this is the new footage moves the needle significantly towards criminality, no doubt about it. And I respect people like Dan Bongino, who jumped on the bandwagon today, his background and his willingness to call it as he sees it. He's been leaning toward kidnapping from the very beginning. And right now, that theory looks a lot stronger than it did just a few days ago. At the same time, I'm urging everybody, listeners, commentators, the public, not to rush to judgment or to spread unverified claims. Look, families are suffering here. Savannah and her sister Annie are living every child's nightmare with regards to elder care of a parent. So let's pray for Nancy's safe return and for answers that bring her home. And if you want to stay ahead of stories like this, if you want me to keep cutting through the noise and giving you the analysis that you can't find anywhere else, the truth on breaking news, things like election integrity, foreign interference, and the fight for our republic, then follow me right now on every platform. Head over to my website, dougbillings.us. Check that out. There are ways to contribute over there. I never charge you to watch this program, ever, never. But it does take financial resources to keep on producing it. So consider over there at dougbillings.us setting up a $5 monthly recurring contribution. And you can also go to YouTube and subscribe over there at The Right Side Doug Billings. At The Right Side Doug Billings, that is free to do. Just click the red bell after you subscribe so that you get notified when I drop new content. Same thing is true on X, Facebook, Truth Social, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. Just search me out, search the show out, and give us a follow. Share the program. Vitally important that we alert the country, and we keep conservatism and the truth in news alive. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm always out there. I'm with you. We are in this thing together, truly, you and I. We stand shoulder to shoulder. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.